Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Temple Emeth and to our Shabbat evening service. It is the first Friday of the month, and so we are pleased to be using Mishkan Tefillah for Youth and having a family service this evening. I welcome you here to the Rabbi Louis J. Siegel Sanctuary, and if you are joining us on live stream, I welcome you as well using technology to our family service this evening. I have just a couple of notes for those of us who are joining by live stream. First of all, the prayer book that we're going to use is Mishkan Tefillah for Youth. And so if you have a copy of that at home, you should bring it to the computer at this time. If you don't have a copy, then you can go to our live stream page at emeth.org/livestream, scroll down to the section that says to access the Siddur prayer book, and then click through on the link to the flipbook edition of Mishkan Tefillah for Youth. And if you do that, you will see the very colorful pages of the prayer book, and you'll be able to follow along with each and every one of the songs and prayers. In addition, if you're watching us on live stream, I hope that you will comment in the comment or chat section of the live stream platform that you're using. You can say something as simple as Shabbat Shalom. You can post your name or your location or another Shabbat greeting, and that way your fellow viewers will know that you're there and will form bonds of virtual community this evening. At this time, we are going to offer our Shabbat candle blessing, and so it is my pleasure to call upon Temple member Gail Turner, who will lead the Shabbat candle blessing. The blessing is found on page 4 and is preceded by an opening reading.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Snuff it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Okay, come stand all here, because otherwise you won't be in the shot. Our service continues at this time with the Kiddush, which is found in the Siddur on page 6, and it is preceded by an opening reading. And so it's my pleasure to call upon Barbara and Richard Chittum to lead us in the Kiddush. Please rise for the Kiddush. Okay, right, guys. Right.
Like wine, Shabbat is sweet. We lift this cup to celebrate the love of family and the joy of living. We sing the Kiddush and taste the wine to remind us that Shabbat is a day of sweetness and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'yirat Shabbat Kodsho Be'ava V'Ratzon Hinchilanu Zikron Le'Maaseh V'Reshit Ki Hu Yom Techillah L'Mikrei Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'charta V'iltanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Kodshecha Be'ahava Uvratzon Hinchalatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Please be seated. We turn now to an opening song. Our opening song this evening is not found in your Siddur, but I'm pretty sure you know the words. Please join with Cantor Tillum as we join together in singing Bim Bam Shabbat Shalom.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
Our service continues with the Baruch Hu on page 22 of our Siddur. You'll know that you are on the right page when you see a large purple letter bet with its nose in a book, maybe similar to how you're holding your book right now. That letter bet is the first letter of the Baruch Hu, and I invite you at this time to please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Yay la 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 la. La 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 la. Yay la 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 la. Yay la 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 la. Yay la 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 la. La 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 la. Yay la 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 la. Yay la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
We remain standing as we turn to pages 34 and 35 in the Siddur. They don't have numbers, but you will know them when you see that they are yellow and have a large letter shin. So if the first letter we saw was bet for Baruch Hu, here we find a large letter shin, which is the first letter of the Shema. The Shema is found on pages 34 and 35, and we now join together in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nefshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn now to pages 38 and 39. Continuing in our parade of Hebrew letters through the Siddur, we see now a large blue, is it blue or purple? We'll call it periwinkle. Letter Mem on page 39. So the bet was for Baruch Hu, the shin was for Shema, and this large letter Mem, which has 12 little musical notes in front of it, representing the 12 tribes of Israel, stands for Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha means, who is like you, O God? And it is the song that our ancestors sang when they escaped Egypt to freedom, and we have the opportunity to follow in their footsteps as we join now in singing Mi Chamocha.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ay la la ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'edim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, lokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'ilianu ve'amru, ze'ilianu ve'amera. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifar Adonai et Yaakov, glomid chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai ka'al Yisrael.
Our service continues as we turn in Mishkan Tefillah for youth to page 42. On page 42, we find the special prayer that we recite only at evening time. As night descends upon us, we ask for God's special protection, and we join together in singing the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chayim. Ushmar tzeitenu שומרנו לחיים, השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Our service continues on page 98 of the Siddur. On page 98, we find the introduction, the first line of the central part of our service called the Tefillah. Well, we have two other Hebrew words, Hebrew letters, that is, on these pages. As long as we're talking about them, let's talk about them, right? So the one on page 98 is a samech. That is the first letter of the word Sefer and the first letter of the word Siddur. Sefer means a book, and Siddur means a prayer book. It's hard to tell from this sketch if this is a Sefer or a Siddur. I'm going to guess Siddur because it's a picture in a Siddur. Okay, so that's a samech. And then on the facing page is an aleph wearing a crown. I believe that that's probably there for Adonai, which is the name of God, and it is the first word on this page, page 98. So, refresh my memory. We had bet for Baruch Hu, Shin for Shema, Mem for Mi Chamocha. Now we have a samech for Siddur and an aleph for Adonai. And we're ready to continue with the Tefillah. Please rise for the Tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Elo Gadol HaGibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Akol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
We read together on page 103. O God, as we remember all you do, we make this promise to try to be like you. We will work to raise up those who fall, heal those who are sick, free those who are in need. As your partners, we will support the poor, feed the hungry, house the homeless, befriend the lonely, and give hope to all people. We will be caring Jews. As you have helped us live better lives, we shall help others. We praise you, O God, who gives meaning to our lives. Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh Hakol. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to everything. We turn the page and read together. What is holiness? Reb Nachman taught that we reach out in three directions: up to God, out to other people, and into our own hearts. The secret is that all three directions are truly the same. When I reach out to another person, I find myself and God. When I find God, I find others and the true me. When I find myself, I reach God and other people. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. We turn now to page 114, where we find a prayer for peace. So you'll notice on page 114 that there's a moon and there's a sun. So guess which of the two prayers we're going to do right now. The moon one. You folks are sharp. And we have windows here so you could see. It's kind of dark outside. Although I will say, just a little astronomy lesson on the side, that with Rosh Hashanah so close, there is no moon on Rosh Hashanah, and since it's only a few days away, you will probably not see a moon when you go outside tonight either. But the moon is for Shalom Rav, the evening prayer for peace. I invite you to read with me. Grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel, for you are the ruler and source of all peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel with peace always, at every moment and in every hour. Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael ba shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We take a moment now for Tefillat Halev, the opportunity to offer to God the prayer of our hearts. Inspirational readings for this time are found on pages 116 and 117.
Shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Useh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Amen. Aseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael,
We continue our service now with our service for the reading of the Torah, Seder Kriyat Torah, which is found on page 121. This is our Torah. Its words are the same ones that our parents and grandparents read. In all times and all places, its words never change. May our children and grandchildren and their children and grandchildren read its words as well. In this scroll is everything that has made the Jewish people special from Mount Sinai until today. Torah teaches us love and justice, goodness and hope and freedom. Please rise.
Mitzion Teitzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah, Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Lamo Yisrael, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, עמד, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, עמד, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים.
Please be seated. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Nitzavim. It is toward the end of the book of Deuteronomy, and at this point in the Torah, Moses knows that he is going to die before he is able to bring the Israelites into the promised land. And like any good teacher, Moses has a lot of important things he wants to teach before he has to say goodbye to the Israelites. And so really the whole book of Deuteronomy is all of those lessons that he wants them to learn. But Nitzavim sort of stands out among all of those lessons in Deuteronomy because Nitzavim says, look, we're all in this together. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem. That's the first line of the Torah portion. It means we all stand here this day, all of us. And he reminds them that the Torah is something that applies to everybody, that being in the community is something that includes everybody, and that the community can absolutely uphold the Torah. God would not give them something too difficult or something too far away. This is something that they can absolutely always be a part of. And so we are going to read from Parashat Nitzavim, the very beginning, this evening. If you are here in the sanctuary, you can take out one of the Torah commentary books, and you will find the beginning of Parashat Nitzavim on page 1537, page 1537. Most of the people who watch us on live stream have the new Torah commentary books, and if you are one of those folks, you can follow along from the beginning of Nitzavim on page 1373. So here in the sanctuary is 1537. At home, it's page 1373. And it is my pleasure to call upon Linda Postkanzer and Paul Rosenberg to accept for the fact that we've changed things a little. I want you on this side.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, people don't do well with change, but I know that a change like this you can handle. Okay, and let me get out the card for you. And let me find my spot. Okay. Put your hand right there. And we're ready for the blessing. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher
Harbanu.
ha'alamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen, amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. Rashechem, shiftechem, zignechem, v'shotrechem kol ish Yisrael. Tapchem, nishechem, v'gerecha asher bekerev machanecha. Mechotei veitzecha ad shoev meimecha. Le'ovrecha bivrit Adonai Elohecha uva'alato. Asher Adonai Elohecha koreit imcha hayom. Le'ma'an hakimotcha hayom lo la'am. Vehu yelecha le'elohim ka'asher diber lach. V'cha'asher nishba lavotecha. L'Avraham li'Yitzchak u'li'Yaakov. V'lo itchem levadchem. Anochi koreit et habrit hazod v'et ha'ala hazod. Ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu vet asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Asher ha'atan Toras Emes v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, you can have a seat right there behind me. This time our thoughts turn to those in need of healing as we prepare to offer a mishaberach, a prayer for healing, which is found in your Siddur on page 125. If you are watching us on live stream, I invite you to put the name of your loved one whom you're thinking of in need of healing in the chat or comment section. And if you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you to share the name of your loved one in need of healing out loud or in your heart. As a congregation, we now join together in singing the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach avotenu mikol habracha of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imatenu mikol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue now with the lifting and dressing of the Torah. Hagba and Galila, please rise.
V'zot ha'Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai yad Moshe. Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to those that hold fast to it. All its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those that hold fast to it. All its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to those that hold fast to it. All its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those that hold fast to it. All its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Please be seated. Well, it's the first Friday of the month, and that means that it is time for our birthday blessing. So in just a second, we're going to open the ark, and we're going to offer a birthday blessing for everyone who had a birthday in the month, or has a birthday in the month of September. And we didn't do this in August, or who had a birthday in the month of August. Raise your hand if you're August or September birthday people. Okay, so we have, it looks like 3 or 4. So we have to stay socially distant. So if you have your birthday, you get to stand up first so we can acknowledge you and see that it is your birthday. And then when we open the ark, everyone's going to stand up, so we won't be able to tell as well. Okay, so we have 4 birthday people. Happy birthday to you. I'm going to give you lollipops after the service. I promise. We restocked the lollipop bag so heavy that the cantor almost dropped it. True story. But thankfully, she did not drop it, and all of the lollipops are still safely in the lollipop bag. Please rise for our birthday blessing. Well, for everybody who is celebrating a birthday in September or catching up from your missed birthday blessing in August, it is my pleasure to wish you a happy birthday on behalf of your Temple Emeth family, and to offer this as a moment of reflection. Having finished 1 year of your life and beginning another, it is a chance to reflect on the many blessings in your life. And I hope that your birthday is filled with presents, as I like to say, both presents with a TS, the things that people will present to you, but more importantly, the presence of God and the presence of loving friends and family. And so on this occasion of your birthday, and for those of you watching at home on live stream as well, if you're celebrating a birthday, we wish you happy birthday too, and we join together in this blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine down upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May God's Spirit lift you up, and may God give you shalom, the gift of peace, now and always. And let us say, Amen. So we will close the ark, and then the cantor will lead us first in Hebrew and then in English.
Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear everyone, happy birthday to you.
You may be seated. Now, it's time for the story, and in order to maintain social distancing, I'm going to read the story from up here, and you're down there. However, the storybook is going to be picked up by camera 2 right over there, and so that means that if you're here in the sanctuary and you want a slightly better view of the book, we're intending to turn it on that little TV over there. So especially to the kids here, if you want to move a little bit closer to that TV for a better view of the pictures, you may, or just settle back in for a good story. So, this story is called The Language of Angels, a story about the reinvention of Hebrew. And the reason I chose this story is because over the past several months, the Temple Emeth Religious School has put a new emphasis on Hebrew and different ways that we can teach Hebrew and make Hebrew fun and make sure that all the Hebrew that we attempt to teach our students is remembered and appreciated. And so this story is based on a true story about Eliezer ben Yehuda, who reinvented the Hebrew language, and his son, who was the first person to speak Hebrew as his native language. And as you might imagine, to be the first person to speak a new language might have been a little lonely. And indeed it was at first for Ben Zion ben Yehuda. But we're going to find out more. There's more to that than just being the first person to speak Hebrew as his native language. And so, there we go. And see, kids, now it's on the bigger TV over here. So if you want to move closer to the bigger TV, you may. Otherwise, I'm going to read the story, and you can just appreciate it. Once there was a child without a friend. Aw. I'm not going to give commentary on every page, I promise. 2 boys his age lived nearby, but they spoke Yiddish. In the morning, they said Guten Tag to each other. 2 girls down the road spoke Arabic. They said hello when they met, marhaba. Some children spoke Spanish. They said hola to their neighbors. Others spoke Ladino. They wished each other buenas tardes in the afternoon. But Ben Zion didn't speak Yiddish or Arabic, Spanish, or Ladino. He didn't speak Turkish or Russian or English or any of the many languages spoken in Jerusalem in the year 1885. So he spent most of his time alone. And there he is, alone, watching the other children playing in their various languages. Ben Zion's father, Eliezer, didn't want him to hear any language except Hebrew, not even the language of animals. If horses were neighing, or sheep were bleating, or coyotes were howling, or donkeys were braying, he covered Ben Zion's ears. Really? You shall only hear Hebrew, the language of angels, he told his son. You will be the first child in more than 2,000 years who will grow up speaking only the beauty of our ancient tongue. And so there his father is speaking with him, and there are the angels. And look, here are 2 letters that we spoke about in the prayer book, an aleph and a bet. That's a gimel, to show us that it's the language of angels, or at least according to Ben Zion's father. A long time ago, Eliezer told Ben Zion, all Jewish people spoke Hebrew. They lived near Jerusalem in a kingdom they called the Holy Land. But there were wars, and their country was defeated. The people lost their homeland and moved to places all over the world. They continued to say the Hebrew prayers that their parents had prayed in the temple, but they learned to speak the language where they lived. Eventually, they forgot how to speak Hebrew except for the words of the prayers. Ben Zion's mother, Devorah, was worried. Ben Zion was already 4. Sometimes he made sounds, but he never said words. Call me mother, say Ima, Devorah said. She pointed at Eliezer. Say father, say Abba. Ben Zion still said nothing. She wondered how Ben Zion would ever find anyone to play with. Eliezer didn't want Ben Zion to be the only one. Oh, I was supposed to turn the page. Eliezer didn't want Ben Zion to be the only one to speak Hebrew. He wanted to start a school with all the lessons taught in the ancient language. He called a community meeting. Some men showed up to hear what Eliezer had to say. Lithuanian Jews cannot understand Jews from Spain or Turkey or America, Eliezer began. My dream is to teach all Jews to speak Hebrew again. It's the language our prophets learned from God's angels. A man named Zalman shouted at Eliezer, but many of us speak Yiddish together. Hebrew is holy and should be used only for prayer. We should never use sacred words to talk about taking out the garbage or to ask for the bathroom. But we spoke Yiddish in the shtetls when we were not free, Eliezer yelled back. The prophets did not speak only in the temple. Do you think they did not use the bathroom? You must be Meshuggah, someone called out. Most everyone agreed that Eliezer was crazy. But when Eliezer returned home, he heard Devorah singing to Ben Zion in her native Russian. He couldn't believe his ears. "I'm sorry," Devorah said. "Ben-Sion couldn't sleep, and I was trying to calm him with a song my mother sang to me." Eliezer was furious. There he is, jumping up and down. He yelled. He stomped his feet. "Abba, don't be angry with Ima," Ben-Sion said quietly in Hebrew. His mother and father were silent. They both gave Ben-Sion a hug, and all three danced around the room. Once Ben-Sion started speaking, he didn't stop. By the time he was 7, he spoke Hebrew as well as his parents. But he still didn't have a friend he could talk to. "Can I please have a dog?" he begged. "I want someone to talk with when you are busy." You can add that to all the lists of reasons that kids ask for dogs. His father agreed. "Now that you speak the language of angels, I see no harm in hearing a dog bark." Maher, fast in Hebrew, is what Ben-Sion called his best friend. Ben-Sion tried to teach Maher Hebrew, but he wouldn't learn. He kept licking Ben-Sion's face. Okay. One day, on a walk through the neighborhood, Ben-Sion and Maher were followed by some big kids. "Ben-Sion is speaking the Hebrew to his dog," Zalman's son shouted. "Papa says that it is wicked to talk the holy language to animals." He threw stones at Maher, and the other boys joined in. And there they are. They have to go pretty Maher to get away from the bullies. Ben-Sion was in tears when he arrived home. He told Devorah that he'd never have a friend. Devorah held him close. "Shh, my child. Don't blame those children. They learn to hate from their fathers, who are scared to learn new things. If only parents could learn from children, maybe they wouldn't be so frightened." Eliezer listened in. If he wanted Hebrew spoken, he needed to teach children first and let them teach their parents. One day, Eliezer brought home some ice cream. Ben-Sion wanted to ask for some, but there wasn't a Hebrew word because ice cream didn't exist 2,000 years ago. No one else in history had ever asked for it in Hebrew. "We cannot just make up any word," Eliezer explained. "First, we must see if there is a cousin in another language, such as Arabic or Greek. Or maybe there's a similar word in Hebrew to describe a cold dessert. Words are related to one another. Making a new word is like solving a mystery or putting together a puzzle." Eliezer looked through his books. He discovered the word gelidus, ice cold, in Latin. It reminded him of the old Hebrew word glid, to freeze water. Eliezer had created his new word. "Would you like some glida?" he asked Ben-Sion. But by then, the glida had melted. The next afternoon, the children in the neighborhood heard that Ben-Sion was sharing glida with anyone who asked for it in Hebrew. "How will I remember the word glida the next time you have some?" one of the girls asked Eliezer. "Can you write down all the Hebrew words in a book so I can look them up if I forget?" "I will write a book," Eliezer answered. But there wasn't a Hebrew word for dictionary. Before Eliezer could write one, he needed a name for it. Milah meant word, and many place names ended with on. So Eliezer invented the word milon. Now there was a place for words where Eliezer could record every Hebrew word, new and old, and everyone wanted to help make new ones. Ben-Sion felt like maybe he might make a friend at last. Zalman's son joined in, though he didn't tell his father. He had an old bicycle, and he helped make up the word ofanaim by combining the Hebrew word for wheel, ofan, and the ending meaning a pair of, aim. He even let Ben-Sion take a ride. And there's Ben-Sion on the bicycle, ofanaim. Every word was a new adventure. The word for book, sefer, and house of, beit, were combined to become Beit HaSefer, Hebrew for school. It is like building a school brick by brick, Eliezer said. We are building a language word by word. Children competed to make up new words, and Eliezer wrote them down in his Milon. Just as Eliezer dreamed, children taught their parents. As years passed, teachers started teaching Hebrew at school. And here is the word Beit HaSefer, which means school. And here are the children doing their part to put all the words together in what would become the Milon. By the time Ben Sion was grown, he had made lots and lots of friends. And here is Ben Sion and his friends, and they're surrounded by a number of the Hebrew words that guided their lives once they were fluent Hebrew speakers. But the most important word I want you to see is right here in the middle. It is the word chaverim, the word that means friends. And that is the story of the language of angels. We will continue our service at this time with the Aleinu. The Aleinu is found in your Siddur on page 130. Please rise for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gdula liotzer bereshit, shelo asaynu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpat adama, shelo samech Elokeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol amonam, v'anachanu koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני Shema, Shema, Shema Echad.
We remain standing now for a reading to introduce the mourner's Kaddish. That reading is found in the Siddur on page 132. As our service ends, we think about people whose lives have ended. Some of them we knew and they were very special to us. We loved them and we missed them very much. Others we did not know, but we honor them as well. This Shabbat, we remember those for whom we are in the Shloshim 30-day period of mourning. Leonora Adler, mother of Gary Adler. Renee Honey Dillon, mother of Hildy Dillon. Ralph Zakin, father of Ace Zakin. Arlene Hirschfelder, a temple member and wife of Dennis Hirschfelder. And Betty Beaver, friend of David and Karen Dugood. We remember as well those whose yard sites occurred this week. Alfred Adler, Ethel Adler, Irvin Bayer, Alice Becker, Mildred Berlinrud, Minna Edith Bresnick, Leonard S. Brown, Benjamin Chellemer, Leonard Chittum, Yetta Eichen, Shirley Eisenberg, Isabel Pfeffer, Isidore Felber, Ethel Feld, Edith Fromm, Ira Gottschall, Anthony Hamill, Jenny Haas, Heinrich Kurer, Philip Levine, John Z. Levy, Leopold Lippman, Dolores Lynch, Irving Marcus, Ralph Moses, Priscilla Nagin, Gladys Nidell, Bryant Buddy Petraka, Hyman Posner, Morris Rare, Harry Rubenstein, Jack Sachs, Regina Schneider, Lawrence Seidman, Nancy Seidman, Audrey Silverman, Rita Spiewak, Frank Tortola, Rosalind Wilson, George Zadra, and Rebecca Zark. And we remember the names of 6 of the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust. Imre Kovac of Hungary, age 31, Meinhard Lux of Hungary, age 37, Laszlo Schlesinger of Hungary, age 30, Erna Heller of Czechoslovakia, age 39, Terez Grunwald of Hungary, age 31, and Avram Siller of Romania, age 45. We remember them all. We take them into our hearts with our own as we turn now to page 134 and we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivorach leolam ulalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei Kudsha Brechu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. It is my pleasure at this time to call upon Gary Richards, a member of our Board of Trustees, to offer Shabbat greetings and announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Family Services on this Shabbat. Next week, we welcome Temple Emeth members back to the building for in-person Rosh Hashanah services. Remember to check the email that came out Thursday or see our website for details regarding the scheduling of programming both in person and on live stream. Unvaccinated adults and children are invited to attend family services where masks and social distancing are required. We'll also have an outdoor shofar blowing for everyone in our parking lot on Tuesday at 3:45 p.m. and Wednesday at noon. If you plan to watch our holiday services at home on live stream, please stop by the Temple office to pick up your prayer books. Everyone entering the Temple for adult services must be masked and fully vaccinated. Individuals may show their proof of vaccination by coming to the office and showing your vaccination card to any staff member, emailing a picture of your vaccination card to our Temple Administrator, Susanna Mercado, or showing your vaccination card to a greeter at services. Please provide your proof of vaccination as soon as possible. Looking past the holidays, our annual bazaar will be on Sunday, December 12th. New and gently used items can be brought in for donation anytime during regular office hours. Also, thank you this evening to our volunteers in the live stream control room. Bruce Bieber, Eliana Bieber, and Amanda Eastman are in the control room tonight. I'll be in the booth next Saturday. Don't expect things to go as smoothly. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Gary. I want to add one other announcement, which is now that our building is open, we are returning our Saturday morning service to its original pre-pandemic time of 10:30 a.m. So we hope you'll join us tomorrow morning here in the sanctuary for Shabbat morning services at 10:30. And I want to say thank you to Cantor Tillum and to our accompanist Tom Mustachio for the wonderful music this evening. We have one more song to share. And that song is found on page 200, page 200 of Mishkan Tefillah for Youth. Our closing song this evening is Hallelu Kol HaNeshama.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Well, we have reached the end of our service. If you've joined us on live stream this evening, we hope that you'll post one more time, maybe Shabbat Shalom, maybe what you thought of our storybook this evening, The Language of Angels. And for those of us who are here in person, we conclude our service by turning to one another and saying, Shabbat Shalom.